Australia versus English scenarios.
We are. I've actually got to get up the questions.
Okay. It's gonna be very exciting.
Hello everyone. So we have
G'day.
Mike.
What?
Because we're doing... I haven't really decided on a name of this video just yet, but I thought it'd be quite cool to kind of do the differences of UK, living here, and how completely different it is to the UK. So we have Mike, the Australian.
Hello.
You've lived here all of your life. You can actually tell the difference more. You've also been to the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell the difference between what?
Well, kind of between the life in the UK for myself and the life here, because I've been here for 6 months now. So we're currently sitting in the middle of the bush. It took about an hour to drive. I'm kind of like at this where I'm having to slant because we're currently on a slant a bit, which is why I'm like... So, what kind of thing did you want to start off with? Because I think there's quite a lot to talk about, but I did have a few questions.
I think
Instagram about what they kind of wanted to know. Living, cost of living, and more the things to do in Oz, petrol and things. I didn't really drive in the UK, so you're probably better off to ask that one.
Yeah, on the fuel price and stuff, compared to the UK, I don't really know, because we only filled up once when we were there, and I didn't really take too much notice because I just had to fill the car up.
Yeah.
To give it back. But here, diesel, which is what we use predominantly in this car and all my other cars, is usually $1.99 to do $2.20 per litre.
Yeah, and kind of the rate from UK, isn't it like 0.75 per $1 or something like that? It changes a little bit now and again.
Yeah, it fluctuates. Recently, it has come down a bit. It got to a point where it was like $2.50 a litre in some areas here. And to feel
yours fluctuates quite a lot though. I've noticed that when we go to certain areas, the price differs a fair amount. But in the UK, kind of what I've seen, not so much.
Well, I think sometimes in Australia it depends where, because it's harder to get fuel to certain areas, so the more regional it goes,
but that's the thing though, isn't it?
The more expensive it can become. But on the contrary, and sometimes the more
that's purely because people have to drive so far to get to those places to fill up the tanks for people. Yes,
that's right. The truck
costs a lot more.
That's right.
Also, being in Oz, because it's such a vast country, it takes quite a while to get to certain places depending on where you are. But I mean, a normal day out to an Oz, maybe a couple of hours drive.
Yeah.
And that can be quite far for someone in the UK. So like when traveling to the Lake District can be like 6 to 8 hours depending on where I was. But I used to think that was a long drive.
Short.
Yeah.
That's short. Yeah.
And that's just purely because you have to drive so far to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you end up filling up a lot more, so it costs you a lot more. So it just kind of depends on what lifestyle you live as well. So let's answer the cost of living. So I know in the UK, in London, where I was, the cost of living was about £1,600 a month, and that was for a 1-bedroom in the centre of London. £1,600.
£1,600, which is roughly...
Yeah, so that was for a 1-bedroom, but again, it completely depends on where you are. So then in a different part of London, it was more £800 for a room. I wasn't sure on like flat prices, but you rented a 1-bedroom flat in Oz.
Yeah, I rented a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah,
it was a pretty spacious one. It wasn't in the city, but it was very close to the city of Sydney. And it was $510 a week, because we work on week here.
So this is what really confused me too. They work off by week rather than by month, but we do per month. Yeah. Was that including gas and all the other bills?
No, plus bills.
So what was that in total?
I think when I got my my energy bills, like maybe $400 a quarter.
A quarter?
Yeah. It's very cheap in apartments because they get it
What's
per
a quarter?
Every 3 months.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't really use much either.
Yeah, because it's just you.
It was just me. I'd had one light on just because like I wasn't using other rooms. I sat in like one area of my apartment.
So how much did you pay for per month?
It was very cheap, the utilities.
2,500?
Yeah, just as a ballpark
Okay.
figure.
So normally what Mike and I do, we kind of half it, but then just add a little bit more to kind of know the difference between currencies.
Which probably isn't, when you equate that to the pounds, it's not that far off 1600.
We haven't ever rented a house or anything, so we can't really say about that. But this is just for like 1 bedroom. And what I was talking about, 1600, and that was for almost city. It was like Hammersmith area, so almost good location in London, and yours wasn't even in Sydney.
No, but
So I would say it's quite, but it's kind of like the location where you were was good. It was like a block of nice apartments and access to
yeah.
road and
secure parking lot down below. It was
Yeah.
2 minutes walk from the train station, a bus stop out the front,
Oh,
a big
cool.
big major bus stop to take you everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So
it
that's
was
pretty accessible.
it was in saying that though, in terms of where Hammersmith was, it was probably a similar area.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the centre, but it's quite
Yeah.
it's quite close and quite
it's accessible
nice.
and
Yeah.
you have all the other things.
Yeah.
So that leads on to the next question, wages here. Because what I have seen in the 6 months, you get paid a fair amount more.
Yeah, and
So I would like some jobs, just admin jobs, because I was doing research into all the different types of jobs and what, you know, kind of the average pay. And for a remote or even in office admin job, it was like $25 to $30 an hour. So they go make, yeah,
which I thought was quite
it is
a
good.
good pay.
It is good.
Considering because it's my field, a carpenter gets paid, an employed carpenter gets paid probably $30 an hour.
Well, I know
You know?
someone who was doing a role like that in the UK, and we worked out that she was getting paid £10 an hour.
Yeah, right.
So just doubling that is $20, and it's not even quite double the
Yeah,
currency. So you do get paid a lot more.
yeah, we definitely do. But in saying that, all of our food and all that type of stuff is way more expensive. Even like our mobile phone packages. I can't remember what the carpenter in the UK got paid,
Yeah.
but
But what's the average
in
pay
Australia,
in Australia?
yeah, for an employed carpenter, about 30 pounds, about $30 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy to think that when you think how strenuous
yeah,
tradie work is.
Yeah.
Tradie work is compared to more of an office job, and you get paid the same. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, they definitely quite substantial amount more, but I've noticed it's very hard to get work in Sydney. So one office job that I saw online the other day, 4,000 to 4,500 people applied, and this is for one position for an office job.
it's crazy,
It's
isn't it?
honestly,
It's insane.
it's insane the amount of
insane.
competition. I know that in the UK it's really hard to get a job, but in Sydney it's almost impossible sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah. So higher cost of living though, so that's why kind of rounding everything up, even when Mike and I went to the UK, I was more aware of how much things cost in Sydney, so I was kind of comparing it to how food bills and everything else cost in the UK. And it obviously completely depends on what you're going for. So we have a lot more food choices, a lot more supermarkets, so we have more of the lower chain all the way up to the higher, but you just have like Coles, Woolies as your main.
We actually have with Aldi. Aldi's really
Yeah,
big
Aldi,
here. We
yeah,
just don't go to
okay.
Aldi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aldi as well. But we have Aldi, we have Lidl, we have Morrison's, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Waitrose.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe how many supermarkets
Yeah,
one
so like
country needs.
I would say, I know, but Marks and Spencers and Waitrose are more of the higher end. So we'll kind of go off of that because Woolworths is more. Would you say that's more of the higher end for compared
yeah,
to Coles?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Aldi here is our budget one. Is our budget supermarket.
yeah, it normally is in
Yeah,
the UK too,
yeah.
along with Asda. Like, we went to
Yeah.
Asda one time just so I could show Mike the difference. And even though the food bill, he was like, wow, that's so affordable.
With
But then
As-
he tasted the food and it wasn't... it was completely different to what is offered in Australia. And they are so big on having foods and products produced and made
yeah.
in Australia. Like, they have everything written made in Australia, made in Australia. don't they have to add on how many ingredients are Australian?
Yeah, so we have a graph on
Yeah.
the back of our cans that say how much produce was from Australia and packed in Australia
Yeah.
on the back.
Yeah.
And you want to look for the
We
full
don't
bar,
have a lot of
you
that.
know, or the 90% because it's
Yeah.
supporting Australia more.
Yeah, it's like even the peanut butter
Yeah.
is like grown and made or
Yeah.
produced in
It
Australia.
always says proudly Australian made.
everything.
Proudly this.
That's everything compared to the like soaps and shampoos, all Australian. But comparing the food, and I think I've actually touched upon this when I made a video when we came back from the UK, but I'll just touch upon it quickly, briefly. The food difference is very good. So I would say Woolworths, which is like the normal supermarket here, compares to very similar to Waitrose in terms of quality of food.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way of understanding what it's like here in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
totally agree with that.
Would you say the bills were the same? Because
in
we
Waitrose, yes.
we were bouncing back and forth and going to all sorts of different places, and so we had to get a lot more snacky foods rather than full-on foods in Waitrose. So it probably would have cost a bit more then, but just going off of what we were having.
I felt
Just more
Waitrose
sandwiches.
was on par with Woolworths.
Yeah.
You know, but the food was a lot nicer
Well,
coming from Waitrose than say Asda.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Asda's our more budget.
There's actually a supermarket here that we should add into. It's called Harris Farm, which is much more fresh produce.
Oh
but
yeah, we
I
do
haven't
have
taken
things
you
like
there.
that.
Yeah.
I want to go.
So I should
I
take you there
love
one
that.
day and then we can do an update.
Yes. No, because I used to go, because I had a fair amount of family who lived in Reigate. I didn't take you there
No.
because it was my nana that lived there, and
Yeah.
my guardians and things. But I used to go there all the time, and they had this farm bakery, and it was all fresh,
Yeah.
homemade bread. That's my favourite to go to.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so going off a bit, for like a normal food shop, we both do food shops together. We spend, I feel like it used to be $100, and
Oh
now
my
it's like
God.
$200. The other food shop I did was $300.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's getting up there.
it's definitely getting up there. That, I think, compared to a more normal lifestyle, you may eat a bit less, but we're both very into fitness and have to eat a lot more food, so it does cost us a lot more in the food shops. We tend to get everything in the supermarket, so like the shampoos and body washes. And were you gonna say something?
I was going to touch on how the different costs of the shampoo,
Yes.
but well, I'm sure we'll get there in a minute.
Well, we can talk about that
Yeah.
now. So the
Yeah.
shampoo and conditioner, funny enough, the one that I use in Australia, I can't remember the brand. There's like this argan oil in these like little bottles, and they're really good. But they're the same in the UK, and they cost about the same. Yeah, 17. I don't know. It's about. It depends if you get things on sale, but it was about $32 for shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
remember...
$17 each, 20, yeah, 34, something like that.
But I'm sure in the UK there was some where we were getting it, that face wash, I think it is, that we use.
Yeah, so we used the Simple face wash, and in the UK it was about £2, £2. Been too long. And in Australia we pay $14 for it. So
It's so expensive when you compare the two.
yeah, because even
Yeah.
doubling £2, £4 for body wash is about $14. In the UK you could get a little bottle for £1, £2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those things are heavily priced compared to just the normal things. I would say our usual everyday food shop is about $200 a week.
I would say that.
But
yeah,
more expensive, $300, depending if we need like the other things as well. Like
Yeah.
toothbrush. Even toothpaste. Didn't you pay like $14 for a toothpaste? Wasn't it
yeah,
something like that?
something like that. I remember.
Yeah.
I know it's just expensive here because every time I go to buy it, I cringe a little bit inside because I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to pay that to that. Like that's, you know. But
Yeah.
and then when we went to the UK to see the difference, I was like,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually bought a few I actually bought a few face washes back because I knew the price difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's food. So we also had like the vocabulary, the difference in vocabulary. I have to admit, ever since being around Australians, I've actually began to swear a bit more.
There's one particular Australian that... Yeah.
It's just a normal vocabulary thing. And when I was like, Mike, do you know how bad the C word is?
It's just a descriptive word you call your mate around here.
Yeah. So in terms of vocabulary, so when I first came here, I was told that I sound really stuck up by how posh apparently I sound.
I thought she was really posh. You reminded me of someone from our northern beaches where you would just go, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, so
That's coming from a down-to-earth man.
down to earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you sounded...
Okay.
There's a bit of maintenance involved.
Is it just English people?
It's the common English,
Yeah.
like, is what we all think of English.
Right,
And then
okay.
your accent reminded me of, like, the royal family. Yeah.
But anyway, I was judged. I was told, yeah, you do sound a bit stuck up. Because I did hear that Australians can think that way about English people sometimes. But we're called pommies. That's our nicknames, English people.
Mm-hmm.
So what's kind of your vocabulary?
Well, what are we going to start on?
Just
Descriptive
like
words?
duvet.
Oh, that's a
doona.
doona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, this
Duvet
one confused me so
is
much.
a doona.
Doona.
I've never heard anyone call it a duvet.
Duvet.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. I just get confused with the washing machine because it said duvet. I was like, what is that? Apparently there's a whole setting
What?
for a
What do you
duvet wash.
What, you have the
the
word
washing
duvet
machine.
on the
On the
washing
washing
machine.
machine.
So where are you getting doona from?
It's a doona. It's just a doona.
Yeah, but where did you get that word from?
That says
And where did you get fair income from?
fair income. Just know it. This is one of the things. You just grow up knowing it.
Yeah, so...
And you can't remember where you learnt the meaning
yeah,
of
but your
it.
mum
You just
says it.
yeah. You
So
just
if your mum said
yeah.
it, you would have picked it up as a kid.
yeah. I know Dad used to say it a lot too. He used to go fair income, Michael.
Yeah, but what does that even mean? You can sit back before
No, I
you
can't.
face plants.
I'm trying to stop the sun. I'm trying to position the
Why
sun.
don't you put that there?
Yeah, good
the sun's
idea.
going down. It's a bit of a funny lighting. That makes no difference, does it?
Yeah, so there's fair income, which is like, fair income kind of means, it depends what context, right? So if something's
Like, is it like, for goodness sake?
yeah, like if something's going wrong
Yeah.
and you're like, fair income, it's
Yeah.
frustration.
Yeah.
Because, you know, but then if someone's telling a funny story that you don't believe or something crazy happened in the story, you're like, fair income. It's like, yeah, right, really? That's amazing.
When I heard it, I was like, fair income?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I know far out. So, like, even before knowing any Aussies or being to Australia, that was what I knew Australia for.
Far out.
Far out.
Far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not even a big one for me.
Really?
No, I
I
don't.
don't hear you say that,
No.
but your mum does.
Mum says far out.
She goes, oh, really far out. Am I getting better at my Aussie accent?
You're sounding too Aussie.
Have I?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm picking it up.
I'm gonna go find out where the pommies live in Sydney and stick you there for a
Well,
week.
So after the sentence sometimes, you go, hey.
Oh, I don't know I do that. You'd be like, I don't know, hey.
I don't know, hey. Another one was flip-flops. So you call them thongs. I was like,
Yeah,
what do you mean thongs? You're wearing thongs?
yeah,
Because that means like lingerie.
yeah. No, we've always called them
Flip-flops
thongs.
are thongs.
Never flip-flops like,
Yeah, but every time you put them on, they go flip-flop.
yeah, but when, like, I've heard flip-flop about them before.
Have you?
But they're
What,
your
from
thongs.
Australian?
Yeah, they're just your thongs. Like, you go put your thongs on.
Should we go on to the different types of culture?
Yeah.
So I think from your very short limited experience from the UK, we did a fair amount of travelling. So we went up north, we went to the Lake District, and we went to Yorkshire, then we went to London, Oxford, further down south. So you've done a fair
Done a
amount
bit, yeah.
Yeah, of the UK. Comparing here to UK is more of, I think, a chilled country. It's definitely colder, so people are more like, just want to stay inside and, you know, watch movies, and there's not
Yeah.
as many adventure things to do depending on where you are, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
But more specific for London, it's just like when we went up north with my sister, our main thing to do was kind of be cozy in the house with the dogs and go for little walks and those kind of thing. But here it's hotter, people want to be outside more, people are always walking along the beach. When we go on our camping weekend, we sometimes park the van by the beach because we like to sit and see the sunrise, and that's amazing. Like, definitely more of a van culture. But then also it's Sunday morning and people are hitting the waves at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, in the UK, people would still be in bed.
Yeah, I
So-
I did find that in Australia we are a lot more active, and I think that is, like you just said, too, due to the weather.
Definitely, because in the UK, when it's bright and beautiful, people want to get out more, and they do. There's a lot more dog walking, but here, bush and trails is a big thing, and surfing is a big thing.
Yeah, surfing's a massive thing if you're near the beach.
Huge thing. They even have certain clothing brands, like surfing clothing brands.
Yeah, dedicated just to that.
Yeah, dedicated just for surfing culture.
I find here though in Australia, there's more to do, like for driving, dirt biking, and mountain biking, all those things.
Rock climbing.
Just because we have the land and the
availability.
Yeah, availability to do it.
I always see kids on the beach with, you know, like babies and people.
Yeah.
Young kids go out surfing, so they always get out. We went to this bush trail track. It's called the 6 Foot Track.
Yeah.
And there was it a group of kids who had finished college, because I know your college is different to my university kind of thing. They were just going into university, and it was like their summer break, and they decided to walk this 50k trail track
and hike it. Yeah.
As a group of friends, and they were stopping off at this campsite where we were, and just pitching up tent and having a great time. I found that really cool.
That is a common thing here, you know.
Yeah.
Like I used to do that around that. Bit younger than that.
I think it all comes down to just the warmer weather, the really good quality of food.
Well, I think that's another key difference.
The accessibility to so many different outdoorsy kind of things. And so everyone I can't say everyone, but a lot of people here have a more active lifestyle. And in that, they're more happier people, I find.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I have to say though, it was really strange. I know this was months ago, but it was really strange having Christmas during summer, and I don't think I ever want to get used to that. To me, Christmas is going to go and see the Coca-Cola truck.
Coca-Cola truck?
Yeah.
What do you mean the Coca-Cola truck?
Yeah, they do like this tour. The Coca-Cola truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to see it, I think, not last year, but the year before. Absolutely freezing, but we went to go and see the Coca-Cola truck, and they have like all sorts going on.
It's like a fair. A parade?
No, it wasn't a fair, but it's like this truck that makes this tour around the UK, and you can go and see it, and they give you like a Coca-Cola and...
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's
that's
just really
pretty cool.
It's a cool experience.
Yeah.
To me, Christmas is very warm and cozy and hot chocolates and fireplaces, but here to you, it's more like barbecues. We don't have a barbecue.
Have a hot meal on a hot day. We should have a roast. In Australia, you have a roast of some description, and
it's weird though, it's like 40-degree days when you're having a hot roast chicken.
Yeah.
That's so.
Oh,
you didn't even know what a Yorkshire pudding was.
No, I didn't know.
Oh my gosh!
Pudding was pretty good. I think I ate 2 at dinner that day. It was very yummy.
Starters for me.
Yeah, well, there was only because there was none left.
Yeah. Yorkshire puddings. You say Yorkshire, don't you?
Yeah,
Yorkshire puddings, staple.
Excuse me a second.
Bless you.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, that's
now it's got an itchy nose.
Oh no.
My apologies. Yorkshire pudding was really nice.
Yeah, that's definitely an English thing. Yorkshire puddings, a roast.
Black pudding. Is it a black pudding?
I don't know. I don't have that.
Yeah.
You tried that, you didn't?
No, I haven't tried that.
But someone did. Yes, you did in the Lake District. You tried black pudding, and you were like, no.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe because someone used to tell me a lot about it who was from there, and then I finally thought, oh, I got my chance. It was gross. There's some products you can't get, but you can get a substitute here that's the same thing. You know, like
no, but you can't do that with certain things. Like it has to be the real deal. So I introduced you to Bien Biens.
They're delicious.
Smiley face, like face biscuits. You can get them for like $1, you know, £1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get them here
no such thing here as £1 biscuits.
There's nothing that tastes like it either here.
No.
I've been searching because I really like that biscuit. Yeah. I think I always had a packet in my backpack when we were walking around there. I was always munching on it.
Yeah, so one of the main things that I like to do when I climb Scafell Pike, when I go to Lake District, is have like the morale of a biscuit on top of the mountain. Don't know why, it just became kind of a tradition thing, but I introduced it to Mike. And I was like, we have to go food shopping and get Bien Biens to introduce you to some English food. And he loved it from there.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after a kind of a long hike, it was absolutely freezing, but we forced ourselves to stay on top of that mountain in the middle of like this blizzard. It was
ice.
So cold.
Rocks had ice all over it, slipping everywhere.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, just eat this biscuit. So that's what we did.
It was good.
What else? Was it Galaxy?
Yeah, is that the really silky smooth chocolate that I love? This is for the people going to the UK then who haven't had them before.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Bien Bien's, Galaxies, you're set.
One other thing, I can't think of it.
Penguins.
Penguins. So they have a big thing here is Tim Tams.
Yeah.
And they're like penguins, but I have to say, they are better purely because they are a lot more chocolatier.
We're talking about Tim Tam, yeah?
Yeah, Tim Tams compared to penguins.
Yeah.
So you have that really bad joke.
Which makes the penguins.
Yeah. Which is like, oh, that's so ridiculous, that joke.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas bonbon. It's like, who writes this? Honestly, guys.
Yeah, and that was compared to Tim Tams. But Tim Tams, I have to say, are better here. And they come with all sorts of different flavours. Our go-to is... Oh, it's our new favourite.
We got a new one.
It used to be caramel. How's that?
Caramel.
Caramel.
How do you say it?
Caramel.
Oh. What have we got now? The salted
caramel, and it's like all gooey, delicious. Ever since being here though, I don't drink any tea.
It's not a tea drinking country.
It's not. It's so about the coffee culture here.
That is one thing that drove me crazy when we were over there.
Oh,
we could not find a good coffee until the last day or two.
We only found one. I took Mike purposely to all sorts of different places so he could try out the different Starbucks brand, the Costa, all the trains, right? But then we went to more of the non-chain places.
Yeah.
And they started to get a bit nicer, and it wasn't like second to last day where we found a local. No, I didn't find it, but I had been to this local coffee shop before. Yeah. And you loved it there.
I loved it. It was just like an Australian coffee.
Finding good coffee in the UK is quite hard. Like here they have scales and proper coffee machines and households. And
often walk in and I'll be like, not here.
Yeah, it's funny. I go, Mike, do you want to watch them make it before we decide? It's gotten to that point. I've gotten used to his coffee snobness. Yeah,
well, it's got to be, you know, because it is so good around here, the coffee. You know, if this place isn't going to be good, 2 steps down, you're going to get it. So why not just wait and then you get a good coffee?
You should see his face when he has a really bad coffee. We actually worked out it's more affordable having a coffee here than it is in the UK. So for that really nice coffee, I paid £5.
Oh yeah, for the nice coffee we found was definitely more expensive than here.
Yes.
But in terms of all the other chains that we went to, I think he was better priced for what you got.
So that's kind of like the culture. It's very coffee and outdoorsy kind of life here. In terms of weather, I haven't experienced the whole year just yet, but from the 6 months, I came here in September, so it was coming up to spring, which is really nice because I went from English summer to... It was actually colder here when I arrived here than it was English summer. It was like jacket. I remember packing and thinking, I'm not going to need all these jumpers. I'm going to Australia.
Then you went on a South Coast trip and needed the damn jumper.
Yeah, we would go outside in the morning, all in jumper, jackets and duvet over us.
Yeah.
Because it was that chilly. But that was more of your spring.
So we're still getting wintry days. I'm glad I got to
experience that though. Yeah. So now I know what to prepare for.
Yeah.
But when I thought about the UK, it felt like the winter there would go on forever and ever. Like 6 months of the year to me, it just felt freezing.
So here, in my opinion, it's the worst for about a month, and then it's like you start getting warm.
Worse because when we went to the UK, we went in, was it February time? It was cold, but luckily you came during a time where it wasn't absolutely.
It was like a warm period, wasn't it?
I wouldn't say warm.
No, but
it was warm compared to what our normal winter's like. I actually remember going outside all the time in the UK because I used to get up early in the morning to go for a morning run, and I'd go outside. It would hurt to breathe because it was so cold.
Definitely wasn't that cold when I was there. That's
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you didn't come during the peak of our winter, and it feels like it just drags on for ages and ages. I look at the temperature all the time now on my phone of what it's like in the UK compared to here, and it's like 14 degrees average.
At the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is spring.
Our winter is probably average 14-degree day. 20 degrees would be a warm one. But what we get here is the wind.
Yeah.
That's what makes it cold, especially if we're up here in the mountains like today.
It's kind of crazy because the temperature drop when we're in the mountains. Here, it's not really high mountains, but it's more bush dense mountains, so it feels like the sun goes down a lot quicker. It's a lot colder, there's more wind. So last night we came and it was about, yeah, the wind was horrific. It was, I think there was a cyclone, was it Western Australia, that we just caught the back end of the wind.
Yeah, but that would have to come a long way across the centre of Australia to get to us. I honestly don't know where that come from.
Sometimes we do catch some storms in the UK and it didn't come from the UK, so sometimes it can happen. But anyway, the wind came from somewhere and it was howling all night. So you see these bags, this was from last night.
The weather is kind of just suddenly got cold. It just feels like we've woken up recently and it's all of a sudden freezing.
Guys, my birthday's in June and I'm gonna have a winter birthday. That sucks. this just change of season, not sitting well with me. I don't know what your winter is like, so I can't comment on that yet. But in terms of summer, we've ended the summer here. Luckily it wasn't as bad as I thought, because I was actually kind of dreading in a way, because so many people know the heat of Australia and like the bushfires, but
it was a cold summer.
It was a cold summer, but even at the beginning, before we went into summer, you were like, this is going to be a wet summer, where it just rains more and it's colder, rather than
we didn't really get the rain I thought we would, but we didn't. We got the temperatures I thought it would be. Like, I think we got 1 or 2 really hot days, where generally those days
we had
previously
pretty few couple of 40-degree days.
Yeah, but that was only over one little period. It's usually like that for the whole thing.
Yeah, it wasn't really feeling like it was going to be lots of bushfires. It wasn't really dry and really hot, but we did have a few hot, dry days in consecutive days. And I remember your mum saying this is like the temperature, and it got a bit dry and the winds picked up. That's when people really fear about the bushfires, because
you can smell the dryness in the air and actually smell it, and I don't know. And
it had been hot for a good few days.
Yeah.
And your mum was actually telling me that they thought the rain was going to come. This was like during bushfire years, not that long ago. Everyone thought the rain would come, but then it would miss. Yeah. You wouldn't get the rain. It was just hot, dry, and the winds picked up, and that's how the bushfire just rips through the valleys.
But also then the bushfire gets so hot that the rain doesn't do anything. The rain actually evaporates because the bushfire makes its own weather system.
When we actually drive through the Blue Mountains, they had a lot of bushfires here. You just see lots of dead trees. I think the vegetation has come back.
It does. It bounces back relatively quickly.
Yeah.
The vegetation and all the trees, but there's still, where all the mass amount of trees got burnt to the top, they're still dead, struggling to come back.
There was a huge patch of where we were just driving through. It was just all dead trees. Well, in terms of summer, I feel like here it's a lot drier. But when it gets really hot in the UK, like comparing like people in the UK would have known that really big heat wave that we had where it was 40 degrees. Here, 40 degrees in the UK, that was unfathomable. It was so hot. It felt like being in an oven. So UK heat to me, a lot of the time, is really humid. Here, I don't ever remember feeling like it was really sweaty.
It's not really sweaty.
It's just strong. It's really strong sun.
And it is dry. So if you were to work out properly in that heat, your lungs, you know, when we're in a sauna and you breathe in, what it feels like.
Is there anything else you wanted to comment on?
I prefer your guys' public system to transport.
Oh, transportation.
Yeah. It was very direct and very...
Yeah.
I found it easy.
That was expected though. Like, you have to have a car here. Yeah. It's a bit like living in the middle of the countryside. For a very short period, I was using the public transport. It kind of felt like very remote UK. And that was near the city.
You mean when you first came here using it?
Yeah, so I had to wait an hour plus for the bus, and it came like every... You know,
it used to take you 3 hours to get to my place that usually took an hour to drive to.
Well, it used to take 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But train systems are so good in the UK.
Yeah, I did like that. Everything was direct. Like in the UK, I wouldn't have a car, I don't reckon.
I didn't have a car in the UK.
I'd be just quite
purely
happy with that one.
I was living in the centre of London. I could get, you know, wherever I needed to be by public transport. I didn't see the point in having a car. But here, I was like, I'm stuck. I can't get anywhere. So actually coming here, I had to relearn how to drive, and you taught me how to drive. So this car here is automatic, purely because I hadn't driven in such a long time.
I remember when you first came, I picked
was
you up
so
from the
nervous.
station in a different car though each time, and then
Yeah.
you went, "How many cars do you guys need?"
I know, 'cause Mike had his work car, the camper van, and now we've got this car.
Yeah, and then
This is our 4x4, which we wanted to use to get through like the old dirt tracks and things. Your camper van wouldn't make it.
pretty much it.
I think that is pretty much everything. I hope that answers some of your guys' questions.
Bon voyage.